Hello everyone and welcome back to Inferno, where previously we got access to the Tier 3 University building, as well as some other upgrades and additions around the mine colony. We also made several improvements to our boiler room here, hooking up immersive engineering multi-blocks, some of which we'll be using today, such as the arc furnace. Oh yeah, and this wouldn't be an episode of Inferno without a bee edition, which actually is something we have to add today as well. Yeah, the emerald plus the lapis bee should give us an experience bee. Look at that little guy. Let's make sure we get 2 of these. I can't believe how many bees there are in this pack. Oh, and the quest book actually gives us an experience bee spawn egg. Some of you guys actually commented on this bee a few times, telling me you could get it from the quest book. I had no idea where that thing was. I also think we're down to our last apiary here. Yeah, so these guys, as their name suggests, will actually just give us passive experience. When we centrifuge the combs, we get raw experience, which we can store in an experience obelisk. Effectively infinite amounts of EXP storage. So instead of the iron pipe, we can hook up a fluid pipe and just have the experience obelisk on site here. Perhaps we could stick it into an ender chest and send it elsewhere, but I don't really know where else that would go right now, so for now it's just going to sit here. Oh yeah, and these fluid pipes, they have to be at least 2 blocks. There. So every now and then, I think it's quite important that we try to figure out where we are and where we're going with this mod pack. So obviously we have our mine colony set up, which is now tier 3 with a tier 3 university, and we have various profession buildings which can allow us to automate basic resources to expand the colony. Not all of them, there are still a few more to add and upgrades to make. We also have things like digital storage, bees, and other machinery which can allow us to automate some recipes. And some of these machines we have to use to reach our next goal, the next dimension, which is to get to the end. And I've heard that the Ender Dragon is certainly not default. We are going to be in for a surprise when we get there, I think. However, after scanning through the quest book a bit between episodes, it seems that in parallel to working on the end dimension, there is also the need for us to expand technologically. We're going to go through the wall here, and we have to get into FTB Industrial Contraptions, or Greg. Eventually, it seems to make antimatter, and antimatter we can get for neutronium eventually. And neutronium is something we need for the overworld dimension, which is our ultimate goal of the pack, is to get out of the nether. But we have to go via the end. So, step 1 to get into industrial contraptions, there are several fairly nested crafts, nothing too crazy. But we're going to make use of applied energistics autocrafting, something we got last episode. That was actually our first 2 patterns though. The first 2 patterns obviously being to make more patterns. Let's see if we're missing anything here. No, it doesn't look like it. Yep, and the blank patterns of course is how we encode new recipes. The first one we have to make is the machine block for FTB IC, which is made from the fuse, redstone flux coils, we need enderium wire. Enderium of course something that we get from bees now, we're up to 5 stacks of dust. In fact, we will need a smelting recipe for this. Let's actually do this 16 at a time. Oh yeah, and we have the pattern access terminal. This is where we can drop all of our recipes in. It shows us every single pattern provider in the base connected to the AE system. Yeah, and so last thing for the fuse is IV cable, which is made with energy crystals. Everything here should be automated for us. We can encode the fuse, and the last part is HSLA steel, which is made in the arc furnace. Steel ingots and steel doping agent, which is bone meal and gunpowder. All of this stuff we get from bees. And it's been running for a while as well, so we should have a decent amount of gunpowder and bone meal. Oh yeah, lovely. Perfect place for this to be. Yeah, so after firefighting the storage room, making sure there was no damage, I realised there was some issues with the arc furnace, in that the 2 inputs for the arc furnace have to be in separate slots on the top side, and we only had 1, so we can fix it by adding another entangled block into a smart chute. Making sure to also filter the smart chute so that the steel goes in one slot and the doping agent in the other, as the chest will contain both items, so we need to make sure they go to the right place. I also changed some HV accumulators on the back just to make sure there was more power buffer, and encoded some of the recipes we'll need to get started here with FTB IC. And it all starts with the machine block. This should be our quest, Gregless. And it seems we also need an FE transformer. We get 16 free fuses, and this transformer will transform RF into zaps at a 4:1 ratio. So at least until we make the nuclear reactor and start generating zaps directly, we will have to generate RF first. And we're going to use that to power the cannon machine, which takes tin we don't have. Wait a second, don't we have a tin bee? Oh, this is aluminium, this is not tin. Is there a tin bee? Ashy mining bee plus the crystalline bee. Yeah, let me pick this up actually, it's going to be useful for later on. We are definitely going to need tin for FTB IC. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to evict these Hematophagus bees. They are supposed to give us life essence, but it seems that they don't have a flower block here. And I thought they would work with nothing, but they've actually been producing us nothing. So it's better that we have the... Wait a minute, iron bees? Did I breed... My goodness, did I breed the wrong ones? Ah, wait a minute. No, this is the ones that can give you a chance output, right? So yeah, we actually have 10 here. I remember breeding these a few episodes back. Our bee wall grows once again. I feel like I'm never away from this place. But it's good, it gives us passive resources. Oh, the time in a bottle actually gave us 50 there, that's crazy. Alright, and now we can pick up the cannon machine, a centrifuge, a roller, and finally for now, a compressor. Yeah, that looks like all the machine quests. Next is to actually use the machines. Wait a minute, did that just destroy the transformer? I guess we craft another one? I don't really know what happened there exactly. Maybe we need a wrench, that could be what it is. Okay, we'll put it here, and we'll also bind it with the entangled binder. Alright, so by the end of this episode, we will have a machine room for all of these things. I just don't know exactly how that's going to look yet, and how much infrastructure we actually need for this mod. One thing we do know is that all of these machines can only accept LV energy. LV is 32 zaps per tick. If you give a machine higher than it can accept, then it will stop working until you repair it with a fuse. So we make sure we connect them with LV cable. There are ways to increase the energy it can accept later on, but we need the upgrades first. So we'll entangle the block that should start to fill the battery buffer. It's not, maybe it needs a cable. Okay, I changed it so that we entangle the RF block and then convert on site here. And it seems now that we are live, we have zaps in here. All of the machine's internal buffers are full and the battery buffer looks like it's filling up, which means we should be good to go here. For the moment, we're gonna give them all hoppers on top so we can batch craft, and hoppers below. Again, we will hook this up to applied energistics at some point. Oh, the quest gives us an LV battery, Fox. It's probably not a bad idea to start looking at the quest rewards a bit more. And I was just about to say, since we can't get our nuclear reactor, and we have to fight the Ender Dragon first, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to invest in some better armour. So I was thinking the Quantum set from FTB IC. However, this also needs iridium alloy and circuits. And I don't think that the living set that we have right now is up to the task, at least not in the current configuration. However, I think we actually have a solution now that we have tier 4 blood magic. Is that a boss through there? There's 2 of them. Yeah, now that we have tier 4, we can make the inscription tools, as well as the next tier of slate, I believe is demonic, 15,000 LP. This thing is pretty slow to craft. Maybe we need some extra speed runes, I think. Oh, it's done. I think we need 2 though. There's the quest. So this time we're going to need 2 master ritual stones and a bunch of regular ritual stones. And then using the dusk inscription tools, we can upgrade the ritual diviner to the dusk version. So these rituals is really only something we have to do once or twice ever. So we're just going to stick them out here. The first one we want to do is the sound of cleansing soul. This one. We need at least 25,000 LP. We stand on the master ritual stone and activate. And this removes all trained upgrades from the living armor set. However, it does give us them back as tomes. And actually, we want to take this armor set off, just so we don't accidentally train the stats we don't want. Remember, there is a whole list of traits and ways to train them, but we want to target specific upgrades, as well as get some more life essence in our LP network. A 50,000 LP cost can allow us to run the Ritual of Living Evolution, which increases the maximum upgrade points from 100 to 300 on the living armor, basically meaning that we can get more powerful overall. Okay, that looks a bit ridiculous, don't you think? What is that animation? So we're standing in the Ritual of Living Evolution. We have 50,000 LP. Oh, I have to be looking at it. There we go. And we should now see that we have 300 upgrade points. Awesome. Let's take it off again so we don't train the wrong skill. And there is such a thing as the training bracelet, this thing. So from what I understand, this training bracelet allows us to exactly specify which level of, for example, healthy we want to apply to the armor. Healthy means we can increase our hearts. And I think for healthy, we want to go all the way up to healthy 10. Healthy 10 doesn't necessarily mean it uses 10 upgrade points though, it's not linear. In reality, I think it's more like 100 or maybe even 200. So yeah, I've got some armor to upgrade and also some more preparations for the end. I guess we're switching priorities here. So I started with the healthy spell, of course giving us extra HP, which we can increase using our healing spell over and over again, and over again, and over again. Then I made up some binding reagent to craft up one of the only craftable upgrade tomes for the living armor. The brilliance upgrade gives us extra armor and toughness. I also added in repair, which is similar to mending, repairing a random piece of worn armor every 100 ticks. And the last trait I decided on was the tough trait, which gives us an extra level of protection against non-projectile attacks. This one we can train by taking damage from mobs, so I went out into the nether and basically just hugged a bunch of pigmen. Obtaining some of the new upgrade tomes like Repair also meant getting some unwanted ones, which means that we have to go through the ritual process once again, reset the armour and configure the training bracelet. And so the armour now is 7 healthy, 7 tough, 4 brilliance and 1 repairing, taking us up to 300 upgrade points.
Just make me believe in love when you're gone, forever after. Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow.
After mostly sorting out the living armour, there's a few other tools that we definitely want to have with us when we go to the end. One of those being the upgraded Ars Nouveau spellbook. And one of the items for the spellbook is an Ingot of the Skies made from the Nature's Aura offering table. There is also another weak blood shard from Blood Magic, Source Fabric, a Wilden Tribute from Ars Nouveau. Hold on, let's see if I remember how this goes. Yeah, Tablet of Summon Wilden, and then Wilden Spike, Wilden Horn, and Wilden Wing. I brought the wrong one. Yes, this thing, Wilden Wing. This should spawn a boss for us, and the boss drop is what we need. There is the Chimera. And Chimera is... if I can hit him. Chimera is down. Yeah, and the final pieces to this is the Fortune's Favour we got from the boss fight last episode, Emerald Reinforcement is easy, and an Ender Pearl. The Archmage's Spellbook. Nice.
Just make me believe in love when you're gone, forever after. Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow. Just make me believe in love when you're gone, forever after. Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow.
Alright, so I believe we are almost prepared for the end dimension, assuming there's nothing stopping us actually getting there. So since previously we had speed on the living armour, that is no longer the case. We're kind of slow. And the upgrade points I would rather put elsewhere, as you've seen. I would like to make the Effortless ring from Evilcraft. So back when we first set up the bees, we have these blood bees. These guys do produce us Evilcraft blood, but we were only buffering like 10 buckets in here and letting the rest go to void. And I definitely regret doing that right now. I guess time in a bottle is going to help us out. Yeah, we're getting a little bit extra in this blood infuser. This blood infuser basically uses blood as its fuel source. It is very slow without any upgrades. I'm not sure how much we need to rely on this in the mod pack, honestly. Okay, a bunch of resources later we got the productivity, the velocity we get from the quest, and the rest is just iron and gold. Yeah, and so the Effortless ring, oh my goodness, that is a really high jump. Yeah, this should address the fact that we can't put speed on the armor anymore. Oh nice, step assist as well. Oh, that is pretty awesome. I mean, step assist can be kind of annoying sometimes, but it's nice when you are fast though. So since we now have a tier 3 university, the Lords of Inferno have not taken a liking to that. And you know those portals that we get every few hours? Well, one of the guys that spawned in our mob farm dropped us this thing. I mean, look at this. I have never seen anything like this bow. This is crazy. And this thing is completely unenchanted. We can still put vanilla enchantments on this. And so I would like to get into Apotheosis, which can of course allow us to enchant above level 30. I think what we want is the Hell Shelf. There's a bunch of other bookshelves in Apotheosis. I've never actually used this before. But as you can see, they all give different stats. I don't think we can make the end versions yet since we need Endstone and Draconic Dust. So the Hell Shelf is made in the tier 3 enchanter. We have that from last episode. You may remember I mentioned we need it. Bookshelves, reinforced slates, and nether bricks are easy. We need to refine infernal essence though, and this requires amethyst shards. There is an amethyst bee, but we need amethysts to get amethysts. I could have sworn I seen a quest reward that gives amethyst, but you guys know how I am with the quest rewards, so I can't find it. Like, where is this thing? I know, oh wait. No way, the first one I click on? I guess there's our amethyst then. I've been searching for that thing for the past 15 minutes, that's crazy. Alright, let's get this amethyst. Oh, that is a lot of diamond combs. I think we might have to increase the processing speed on these. Okay, we're gonna have this bee share, I think with the bloody bee on the end, at least until we build more hives, but I'm definitely not doing that today. And then we just need some more of that dust that we crafted last episode. In this thing. Uh-oh, our nether miner died. Well, that is not good news. Oh look, here's his grave. Like, we should recycle this stuff. I'm sure it'll be replaced. Don't worry. Alright, we are crafting. This should be the refined infernal essence. Let's try to aim for 4 of these hell shelves. I just realised there's 2 infernal essence per. Yeah, that's a lot of source to go through, and we don't really have an automated way of sending it over here yet. We should really get some source relays in this room. Alright, we got all the items. We should just be able to request 4 hell shelves in the post box, and it's going to deliver it to the enchanter. He's going to craft it, and it should appear here any second now. This is also where investments at the beginning of the episode should pay off by now. The Experience Obelisk has 116 levels in it, wow. Which of course we're going to take and use to enchant with Apotheosis. Look at us thinking ahead. I totally did not mean to do that. I didn't expect to do this today, honestly. I had originally planned for the nuclear reactor. I didn't realise that took iridium though. Oh no, mistakes were made. We done this the difficult way. So yeah, similar to the other crafts in mine colonies, once you craft it once with the enchanter, it unlocks a cheaper recipe. And we didn't need to make all this refined infernal essence. Oh well, now we know. Now we know. I made up a few more. It seems that without, I think, getting the higher tier of shelves, the blazing, for example, which is after you enchant it, I think we're maxed out at 45 levels. Let's enchant some Tome of the Archers, which limits the enchantments available to only be applicable for bows. Respiration? That doesn't go on a bow. I mean, I guess it has power 5 on it. Alright, I did some enchanting. This thing is going to be completely nuts. Infinity really is the main one I wanted. Power 7, Poison Tip 4, and Nature's Mend. Oh, check out the draw speed as well. So I just went ahead and made the reforging table and salvaging table. However, I don't think this can help us with an already enchanted bow. I believe this applies to the top 3 stats there, which I don't think you can change unless you destroy the item. However, you may also notice there is empty sockets on the bottom there. And I've been saving a few of these gems since, well, the beginning of the series, really. Inside the smithing table, we're going to add 10% current HP damage, which is huge. Percentage HP damage is massive. And we have one more slot. What are we going to add? We could potentially do lifesteal or armor piercing. Draw speed? I mean, we have enough draw speed. Yeah, I think we go with the lifesteal. We're going to be hitting really hard with this thing, so hopefully we should lifesteal a decent amount as well. This thing is crazy. Oh yeah, we have a few elytras left, right? At the mob farm, we should. Yeah, this gives Unbreaking 8 and Mending. We might as well also put that on. Just a bit more EXP for this. And something else probably worth mentioning here is that you can enchant the living armor. And in fact, I have enchanted the living armor. The only problem is I don't remember what exactly I put on there. It was like a week ago by now. And there's a bug in the game right now which makes enchantments invisible on this thing. So I'm going to just have to trust that this is enchanted. You know, actually the toolsmith here is going to sell us Unbreaking books. I suppose 5 is all we're getting. Thank you. So, you know, we got the university up to tier 3 last episode. We haven't had a whole lot of time to look at this thing yet. That did also unlock the tier 3 technologies. However, there's only one thing preventing us going up to tier 4. Actually, that's not quite true. We need to upgrade our builders. Kaylee has to at least be tier 4 to build tier 4 buildings, I believe. So let's just do that. Let's upgrade the builders. And using some of the refined infernal dust and an ender pearl, we can make the summoning stone for Swampjaw, another quest, and will actually give us the quest reward that we need to upgrade the university. Oh yeah, Kaylee has already started on the stonemason, that is very good. And if you recall, we need the stonemason level 3 before we can craft the end portal, so why not test out our damage? The quest book reckons that we are prepared for this battle, so I mean, what could possibly go wrong? So we're gonna have basically the same setup as we had for the last fight, except this time we have our bow. Are we gonna one-shot him? I don't think so, but we are one-shotting the ads. Maybe we don't even need Jensen. That's second wave down. Oh, one more. Third wave. Oh, those guys are 2-shot. That's okay. We are poisoned. Oh, wow, that is a lot of mobs. They came out of nowhere there. We are one-shotting again. Another Vex. Swampjaw is apparently here. Where is he? We see his health bar. I don't see where he is though. Is he invisible? Is that the particles up there? Is that him? It is him. He's invisible. Is that like a random affix or is like... It's dropping TNT on us. Yeah, we can't see him. I don't know where he is. So as it turns out, the timer actually expired. And I had to craft another portal. So let's do all this again. I think we actually see him this time. I did see him briefly. Where is he? There he is. Wait a minute, the Lords of Inferno are going to summon a breach now? Again? I feel like I just... Oh no, that is very bad. Oh no, please tell me the grave is on the floor there. Okay, we got it, we got it. Light potion. Wow, he hit really, really hard there. Yeah, I did not expect that. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to my HP. One more hit. Hey, we got him. We got him. And Legend has his mossy tooth. This is what we need. Perfect. Actually, this is anything but perfect. That was the most sloppy fight we've had. You know, I don't think I played that quite as badly as I first thought. On reviewing the footage, we can see that I am actually full HP, and he comes out of nowhere and just headbutts me. So yeah, I'm not sure, maybe you guys can let me know, was that one of the affixes he had? Or is our living armor just that terrible? We are in a situation quite similar to the end of last or around this time at last episode actually, where we have to upgrade the university, only this time the recipe is actually bugged out. The thing we need is the Arc of Inferno Mastery, and to craft it we need an Arc of Inferno Mastery, which doesn't have a crafting recipe other than this, so it's a cyclical recipe here. I believe though it's actually getting patched. 1.0.4 is coming out today, so I might just wait for that, and in the meantime, we should make good on our promise and set up a machine room for FTBIC. And that should give the builders enough time to construct the buildings that we need. The stonemason for the end, and the university tier 4. You know, it's quite unfortunate that we added death 13 onto our statistics. 13? How could it be 13? Anyways, I've been doing quite a bit of building over here for FTBIC. I'm actually really liking the way this is turning out. I feel like I've improved over the years on being able to build interesting looking bases. It's not just one flat corridor. Still not exactly where I want to be though. There's a lot to learn when it comes to base building, and building in general in this game. Like these gold blocks, for example. I wanted to add a bit of a different accent here, but I don't think gold really fits with the blocks that we have. Even though we have the yellow from the shroom lights, yeah, I'm not sure. I think that might have to get changed, honestly. But yeah, on the right-hand side, we have our FTBIC machines, which I moved, which were sitting right around here. On the left, we're going to populate this next episode. And in the middle here is where our nuclear reactor is going to be. Before we set up some automation for FTBIC, though, I would like to fix a few issues around the base. And for that, we have to come back to Nature's Aura once again. Iron, Lily of the Valley, Bottled Sunlight, a torch, an apple, a golden leaf, and an oak sapling. Should give us something. Token of Joy, I think maybe it is? Yes, Token of Joy. We're going to offer this token to the gods and drop a Spirit of Calling. We should get a Euphoria token from this. Maybe? Alright, we're missing a flower here. That would probably help. Now it should work. And we're going to use this to craft the Altar of Birthing, which I believe is a quest, but we haven't unlocked it yet. So I've built a little room underneath here for it. It's not something we have to use super frequently, so it's going to go right here. And I believe there's also a multi-block structure. Yeah, looks something like this. I have no idea what those blocks are. It turns out we need something called Infused Rock, which we can get in the Crimson Altar. And I believe it is the brick variant. And the middle is Ancient Planks from Nature's Aura. And the altar in the center. You may remember a few episodes back when we set this up, I think it might be in episode 4, we didn't have any way to get any starbunkles to automate this farm. Well, shortly after that episode came out in 1.0.2, they added in this starbuncle recipe. Spirit of Birthing, a cake, and a source gem. Did we just toss it on the floor? Oh, we do! There we are. Nice, and I think we give this guy a gold nugget. And he should give us some sort of charm. There we go. And I think for this to work properly, we actually need 2 of these guys. Alright, and after some setup, I think this is working exactly the way we want it to. I didn't make any sense after watching the footage back, so let's try and explain this once again. So basically, once we get the starbuncle shards, we can craft those into the charms, and using the charms, we can summon our own starbuncles, which we can control with the Dominion wand. And so one of these guys, you click the inventory first and then the starbuncle, and that will cause them to harvest the crops and deposit any of the berries into the drawer. And the second one takes from the drawer and puts it onto the arcane pedestal. And because we have a mycelial source link that takes food items, and these berries are considered a food item, the mycelial source link generates source, goes to the source jar, and then we have a source relay, which basically acts like a Botania mana spreader. The source relay sends source across the room into a depositor source relay, and this just empties out its source into any adjacent source jars. So we have one for the enchanting apparatus, and we have one for the imbuement chamber here. And the agronomic source link here also gives a source whenever a crop grows in the area, which is also sent into the jar and across the room for crafting. Yeah, I hope that made a bit more sense. We still have to automate the machines you can see behind me. In fact, I have started preparing the wiring tunnels down here, and actually I cleaned up all the way back to our main controller back there. You might call me crazy for doing this, but you know, it goes all the way down now, not a single piece of netherrack in sight. Miles and miles of wiring tunnel. I think we're underneath the boiler room right now. And then slightly further, I think this was our... No, this is the arc furnace right here. This intersection is the engineer's workbenches above us. And then slightly further is going to be space for FTB IC machinery right up here. And probably extending along for the nuclear reactor. But I'm thinking this is probably as far as this particular corridor is going to be. And so the development of this room and the nuclear reactor is something we're going to look at next episode. I'm really looking forward to this nuke. And hopefully we also get to the end dimension. Unfortunately, we were not able to get our university up to tier 4 yet. We're still in 1.0.3 today. But I think the issue with the recipe there should be fixed pretty quickly. There is a fix coming for it, we just have to be patient here. But yeah, we are going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Inferno.